Okay, yesterday in the last class we were discussing about where is that? Just a minute. Discussing about the MOS capacitor band diagrams, and then we were trying to locate different energy levels, like conduction level, valence level, and the uh, intrinsic level points. So let us continue with that. So we know that for a MOS capacitor. So why we are doing this exercise is because we always. Am I audible? I think I'm audible. Yes, one of you
Yes,
unmute
sir.
and say fine. We always say that there is a MOS capacitor, and then which leads to MOSFET. And once you have MOSFET, we have a lot of circuitry. It can be analog or digital. Most importantly, for all of them, we always talk about what is the threshold voltage of this particular MOSFET, which again originates from this MOS capacitor. So this MOS capacitor, we know that there are three different regions of operation. One is called as accumulation, other is called as depletion region, and then is inversion region. So these are the three regions of operation depending on the voltage, the gate voltage that we are applying to the MOS capacitor. When I say gate voltage, so assume that I have the MOS capacitor structure something like this. I think okay, this is fine. If this is my MOS capacitor, so we have this is metal. This is okay. Let me just write it as this is metal oxide and semiconductor. What I'm talking about, this is my VG. This is my VG. Suppose if it is a P substrate, if the applied voltage is negative, so since it acts like a capacitor, so since it is now minus minus minus, when Vg is less than 0, when I say Vg is less than 0, it is Vg negative. I'm going to have on the metal part of that MOS capacitor, I'm going to have the negative charges. On the semiconductor side, because of this capacitive action, I'm going to have the plus plus. Correct, Jare? Hello.
Sir.
Okay, because of this negative charges on one side of the plate, I'm going to have the positive charges, which is nothing but contributed by holes. So contributed by holes means, okay, whatever electrons was there, they have been pushed towards the substrate. You end up with a creation of hole. So you have, for applied negative charges, you have holes at the oxide semiconductor interface. Shall I say here it is accumulation of majority charge carriers at the oxide semiconductor interface? Can I
Yes,
say
sir.
that? So I will say
Yes,
this
sir.
is that accumulation region for a P substrate. When it is P substrate, which is resulting in a NMOS capacitor. So this, for a NMOS capacitor, I'm going to have P substrate. You'll get accumulation if Vg is less than 0. So assume now, for the same capacitor you apply Vg which is slightly greater than 0. So does it mean that you're going to have plus plus here? Because the voltage applied is now positive, you're going to have the positive charges on this side. So you will going to end up with negative charges on the other side, which is in the form of immobile ions. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So this
Yes.
of course you certainly have the negative charges on the other side of the MOS capacitor. So this is again metal oxide semiconductor. Can you see here it is negative charges, but they have been contributed by the ions. So that's why we have a depletion region. This is for Vg value slightly greater than 0. I'm always talking about the P substrate which constitute an NMOS capacitor. Is that fine? Now let us
Yes,
go
sir.
to the third case. Which where you have Vg is positive, but more and more magnitude. So you certainly made it more than 0. Here it is slightly more than 0. Here it is far greater than 0. So you will have more and more positive charges on one side. You will certainly have these depletion region will be there along with this depletion region what you have due to the immobile ions, you will also have free electrons. Correct? This region is called as accumulation region because you have accumulation of majority charge carriers. Correct?
Yes, sir.
And this is called as depletion region because these regions, accumulation, depletion, inversion, are with respect to the oxide semiconductor interface. It is at this interface what is the what situation, what is the condition they are talking. Accumulation of majority charge carriers, depletion of charge carriers at this region, and if you further increase the voltage, can you see now electrons are there accumulated here, which is a minority charge carrier in your p substrate. So
Yes,
that's why
sir.
the name inversion. So something opposite is happening. So this is for a value of Vg far greater than 0. So this is how physically it happens. But how do we quantify? So here I said, okay, slightly greater than 0, far greater than 0. What is this far greater than 0? So that's in order to understand that particular quantifying that value, we are going for the MOS capacitor. Why we always start with MOS capacitor for a MOSFET? Because MOSFET is actually built on this MOS capacitor. So what you have in your MOSFET is, first you will have this MOS capacitor. On either side of that MOS capacitor you put the diffusion. If it is P substrate, so do you already have an NMOS capacitor? Hello?
Yes, sir.
So is this okay? Metal oxide semiconductor, has it contributed to NMOS capacitor as it is happening here?
Yes, sir.
Then
Yes, sir.
now you make it N plus N plus. This will become source and drain. So here also, if the voltage is negative, no channel. If the voltage is slightly positive, depletion. If the voltage is more than certain value, can you see the channel get formed? That more than that certain value is nothing but threshold voltage. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So that threshold voltage we will actually quantify. This threshold voltage depends on what all parameters, and maybe during the fabrication process we just learned there are different ways of different processes for making that fabrication, and how does that quality of your oxide layer will going to matter in fixing this threshold voltages and all those things. Okay, we'll just continue with this. So this is P substrate. Let us consider this again MOS capacitor. So I'll have a MOS capacitor. This is semiconductor, this is oxide, and this is metal. You can see I'm just writing them apart. If you want to write the band diagram, energy band diagram of, this is energy band diagram of metal, oxide, and semiconductor, especially since you are going for NMOS capacitor. Let me take P substrate. Does it make sense? Correct? So this
Yes, sir.
metal, of course, both conduction band and what is that, valence band got merged. I'll going to have the fermiton band exactly at the middle, and I'll have for oxide, I'm just, I have not yet connected them, they are now separate. So this is metal oxide semiconductor which are now separate. So this you can see, this is your EC, the conduction band, this is the valence band. You require lot of energy, that is energy gap between the valence and the conduction band, which is very large for the oxide, meaning it requires very large potential for electrons to come from this valence band to conduction band. Of course, by that time your entire material will going to get spoiled. So that's why there is no conduction in oxide material. And then come to what, semiconductor. So semiconductor, I have this as my EC, this as my EV. The exact midpoint of that is intrinsic band gap, and since it is P substrate, so where do you have your Fermi level? Will it be above EI or below intrinsic? Someone?
Below, sir.
It will be below. So I have this. Okay, this below, how much is this? I'll write it as EF. The position of EF depends on what is the doping concentration. Correct. On the other day we were talking about if the doping concentration is more and more, is it now coming closer to EV? So this is how
Yes,
it is
sir.
coming down. If it is closer to, if the concentration of your doping is more and more, it is keep coming down. If the concentration is less, so it moves above. So it is moves above. If the concentration of your impurity is less, it just goes above. If the concentration is zero, EF and EI will merge and they are exactly at the midpoint. Correct? Hello.
Sir.
Fine. And for all of them, there is something like a vacuum level as a reference. There is a vacuum level. So vacuum level means, okay, have you seen maybe some metals where some positive voltage is always connected or negative voltage is always connected, and then you see if it is there in use for long duration, maybe for a year or so, can you see it is get corroded, or sometimes you will find, okay, something is the metal is being get lost. Have you noticed it? Okay, some portion of the metal is not, of course it is going off. Have you ever noticed it? Will it be as smooth as possible before the usage? After the usage for maybe a long duration, can you see it is slightly get erode? Matlab, okay, it's not, okay, corroded. So you can see some material is lost where exactly that connection is made. Have you ever noticed it? Hello, hello.
Yes, sir.
Really? Madam, like, of course, this is how the Fermi different levels of your energy band diagram for the metal, the oxide, and the semiconductor look like. And for all of them, there is a reference called as vacuum level. We were discussing about uh, uh, especially in case of connectors where you are connected that either positive terminal or negative terminal of a battery uh, to the external to the what load. You might have seen that, okay, some portion, okay, where that connector is connected, especially at the battery side. Have you seen it is slightly that material is lost? So it is because there is a possibility that the electrons or the material, the electrons which is over here, can escape to vacuum, if there is sufficient energy given. You can see there is a we call it as electron affinity. Electrons can come out of even the material itself and they can go to vacuum. So that we call it as Q times psi. So this is nothing but, if for a given material, if you impart this much amount of energy to an electron can become free from that entire material. So that's why it has gone out, and whenever electrons go out, we have loss of material. So this will not happen in a day or so. So because suppose if you want to take out some portion of your material, it takes maybe months or years together for electrons to go out, because you need to be keep pumping that much amount of electrons to go out. So you can see this is, we call it as what electron affinity. So electron affinity is nothing but it is the energy gap between the Fermi level and the vacuum level. So if an electron get that much energy, this goes out. Similarly over here. So this is the electron affinity for this, and this is the electron affinity for this semiconductor. Now you can see these are the energy band diagrams when they are connected separately. So let us consider one situation. Of course, this is, let us also call it as this as phi m. Phi m is now the energy gap between this vacuum and this, because now phi m is what? It is the difference between the vacuum level and the Fermi level of this. So similarly for this also I have something like phi f. So this is phi m and phi s. Sorry, phi. Okay, this is, since it is semiconductor, let me write it as phi s. So if I write it as phi ms is equal to 0, what is this phi ms is equal to 0? This is exactly phi m minus phi s. Suppose if the electron affinity of this metal and the semiconductor, if they are same, then I'll call it as phi ms is 0. If electron affinity of these two, metal and the semiconductor, which is there placed on the other side, if they are same, then I'll say it as phi ms is 0. Phi ms can be negative or it can be positive. So what do you mean by phi ms negative? What do you mean by phi ms negative? Here, as per this, for this phi ms to be negative, phi s is more than phi m. For this to be positive, phi s is less than phi m. Now what I am trying to convince you people here is that if the electron affinity of the metal and the semiconductor, if they are same, we call it as phi ms is 0. So their Fermi levels are equal. Now initially it is possible that, or if you have a different metal and if the doping concentration of this is different, can we have these two different values? So there can be different values also. In such case, if this phi s is more, I will end up with phi ms as negative. So we are talking about different possibilities of having this phi ms 0, negative as well as positive. We are looking at when can we have this as, suppose if your doping concentration is more and more, so does your EF keep coming down? If your EF comes down, so does the separation this increases compared to this one? So when that happens, I'm going to have phi ms is equal to, phi ms will be negative. Suppose the doping concentration is less, it is possible that, or maybe in case of a n-type substrate, I may end up with phi ms is equal to positive. So phi ms positive means phi s is 0. So suppose if your this is your EF, then this is lesser compared to this. So in such case your phi ms is positive. So depending on whether it is phi ms is 0, negative or positive, we will try to understand, okay, how does this MOS capacitor behaves. So what we are so far looking at is, we are having energy band diagram of the metal, oxide, semiconductor separately written because we have not yet merged them. So let us start merge and then try to see how does this band diagram will behave. Are you all there with me, or Koge? Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is now I'm just trying to join all of them. Okay, this is MOS. Now when I say MOS, now it is the time for this is for metal, this is for your oxide, and let me write this as for your semiconductor. Since it is okay, let us assume that phi ms is equal to 0. So when I say phi ms is equal to 0 of the metal, and this will be at same level corresponding to this. This is your phi m, this is phi s. So both are same. So both the heights are same. So since this is a PMOS, of course a P type, so P type semiconductor. So in case of P type semiconductor, shall I write EV here? If I write EV here, so let me write this as my intrinsic, and then does this intrinsic exactly halfway between the EV and EC? So this is your EC, correct? This is EG by 2. half of the energy band gap. Fine. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is of metal oxide semiconductor. You can see both are at same point. Both are at same point. Now, let us start applying the voltage. Let us start applying the voltage. So, before I start applying the voltage, so let us try to find out what is the concentration of electrons and holes depending on the values of EI and EF. So, we know that maybe in AMCD we have learned that the number of electrons in intrinsic semiconductor is given by 5.2 into, did I give this expression last class? I don't know. Yeah, I have given it here. Yeah, this is the expression for your number of electrons in an intrinsic semiconductor. So let me just rewrite that. 5.2 into 10 power 15 temperature to the power of 3 by 2 exponential minus Eg divided by 2 kT. This will result in for a silicon having a energy band gap of 1.12 electron volt will end up with number of free electrons as equal to 1.08 into 10 power 10 electrons per cubic centimeter. This is at, of course, as we discussed, this is at 300 Kelvin. If you are increasing the temperature, that becomes 1.54 into 10 power 15 electrons per cubic centimeter. This is at 600 Kelvin. 600 Kelvin. This is fine. This is for intrinsic semiconductor. Let us try to find out what is N of N and P of N. What is this N of N is number of electrons in N-type material. This is number of holes in N-type material. This N indicates you are referring to electrons, and this N suffix N indicates which type of silicon you are looking at. So this is an N-type semiconductor, and you are trying to look at what is the number of electrons. This is again N-type semiconductor. You are looking at what is the number of holes. So we can actually find out. So does the number of electrons in an N-type material more compared to intrinsic? Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
What do you mean by N-type material and intrinsic? Intrinsic and N-type material. What's the difference?
The number of holes is more than number of electrons.
No. Number of, okay, whenever I say N-type material, it is doped with pentavalent impurities. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Since you are doping with pentavalent impurities, the number of electrons, if it is 1 into 10 power 10 electrons per cubic centimeter in an intrinsic case, in case of a doped N-type material, number of electrons will be equal to number of donors that you have added. Am I correct? So this
Yes,
number
sir.
of electrons is equal to Nd. So this Nd, did we discuss heavily doped, lightly doped, and very heavily doped? N plus, N plus plus, N minus. Did we?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So instead of, okay, this is one way of writing, okay, what is the number of electrons in the N-type material, which is nothing but number of donors that have been added, which is also equal to number of electrons in intrinsic material exponential to EF minus EI by KT. EI by KT. See here, this is, do I have this as my N-type material? Okay, what is this N-type material? So I will just write, okay, for your reference, let me write this as my, I will write, is this is midpoint. If I assume this as my EI, this is, what is this? This is EC, this is EB. Correct? uh, without without doping, does EF and EI will going to be merged together?
Yes, sir.
Suppose if ND is equal to 0, if you are not at all adding anything. So does this EI itself is EF?
Yes, sir.
In such case, what are the concentration of electrons? Is it not equal to Ni?
Yes, sir.
So it's equal to Ni. Suppose if you start adding that, what is that? Impurity, does this starts moving? Can you see this is
Yes,
now
sir.
EF? Can you see this is keep moving now? So this EF is keep on moving as you increase the impurity. Correct?
Yes, sir.
So does this quantities keep becoming positive and positive as you dope it more and more?
Yes, sir.
So then does this NN, will it increase exponentially compared to your Ni as your doping concentration increases?
Yes, sir.
So number of electrons in an n-type material is given by Ni into exponential EF minus EI by KT. So of course, as you have, if this EF is far away, then you're going to have the number of electrons in your n-type material will be too much. So let us try to find out what is, of course you can just say something like this, P of P. Shall I write, okay, P of P here? Okay, maybe instead of P of P, let me also write it as, okay, let me write it as P of P. Can I write P of P? What is this P
Yes,
of
sir.
P? P of P means what?
P type, sir.
P of P. What do you mean by P of P? Number of holes in a P-type material.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
So now this is what this was actually n-type material. Let me write a P-type material. So if I want to write, okay, maybe for this let me write, this is again now EC, EV, midpoint is EI. Shall I write now this as my EF? Correct? So
Yes,
number
sir.
of holes in a P-type
P type.
semiconductor, is it equal to number of accumulators?
Yes, sir.
Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Now suppose if I want to know what is number of electrons in P-type material, shall I write it as Ni exponential EF
Sir, not
minus,
visible.
this is now number of electrons in a P-type material. Is it? Now it is equal to Ni into, now we are trying to represent the number of electrons in terms of energy band diagram values. So Ni multiplied by exponential EF minus EI by KT. Is the value of EF less than EI here?
Yes,
Hello.
sir.
So can
Yes,
this,
sir.
is this magnitude negative here?
Yes, sir.
Is exponential of a negative value less than 1?
Yes, sir.
Does that less than 1, will it not bring down the number of electrons lesser than Ni in your P substrate?
Yes, sir. Exponential decrease.
So does P of P is far greater than N of P?
Yes, sir.
What is this P of P? This is actually holes
Wall.
and these are electrons. We are referring
Electron.
to P substrate. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Same thing is true here also. Suppose if you want to write what is P of N. P of N. Shall I write it as Ni into exponential EI minus EF by KT for this? See here for this. It is what? Number of holes in a n type.
Yes, sir.
So if you can see here, does EF is always greater than EI?
Yes, sir.
So in such case, is this negative?
Yes, sir.
So will it end up with P of n always less than n of n?
Yes, sir.
What does this mean here? Does the number of, okay, this is actually holes. Holes are far less than electrons.
Yes, sir.
Are we not referring to this as n substrate or n material?
Yes, sir.
So the entire idea of representing the number of holes and electrons in a particular material in terms of energy band diagram values is, uh, suppose uh, now, okay, keeping this in mind, so let us start applying the voltages. Let us start applying the voltages here. So let me again have that MOS capacitor structure. So this is my substrate, O and metal. This is my oxide, and this is EF. And let me write this as EI, and this is EC, and this is E. So this is which type of material? Is it P substrate?
N type.
Hey,
Yes,
EF is
sir.
down. EF is down.
Yes, sir.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, now assume that no voltage is applied. Voltage applied is 0. And we have assumed that phi ms is equal to 0. What do you mean by phi ms 0? This, whatever gap between the vacuum and this EF is same as the vacuum and
Same.
the conduction, the Fermi level of the semiconductor. Fine. So now
Yes,
can
sir.
you see the band is flat here?
Yes, sir.
Band is flat. Now let me apply some, okay, let me first apply some negative voltage. Correct? Let me apply
Yes,
some
sir.
negative voltage. Done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if I apply negative voltage, what will happen? Hello?
On metal oxide, negative will get accumulated.
Mm-hmm. So what will happen if I apply, okay, here we are discussing if I apply negative voltage, where is this here? This is a P substrate. If you apply less than 0, what will happen? What will happen if?
Phi is less greater than phi.
No, here, do you have more holes coming here?
Yes, sir.
Can you see number of holes are more?
Yes, sir.
So here now we know that. So what is P of P now? Is it not equal to Ni exponential EI minus EF by KT? That's what we discussed here. Correct? Is this?
Yes, sir.
P of P is equal to Ni into exponential EI minus EF by KT. Correct? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay, this is, if you can see here, does this distance remain constant throughout this entire structure? This I'll call it as, is this MOS, correct? This is metal oxide semiconductor. So if I'm here, suppose if I'm there at X point, is it like, okay, I'm there at X point here? If I'm just keep on going down, is it like, okay, I'm just keep on moving down here? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Now, we are trying to map the distance from this oxide semiconductor interface to coming down towards the bulk. I will say this is bulk because I'm just going deeper into the semiconductor. Going deeper into the semiconductor, is it not going deeper into this region? Now we are interested in, so here we always talked about this. Did we always talk about this one? Oxide semiconductor interface only. We are not bothered about what's happening at the bulk. Now, in all MOS capacitors and MOSFET, we are looking at, are the number of electrons more here at that interface or not? We are not worried about, okay, what is the number of electrons that are there in the bulk. Are we? Hello? Hello?
No, sir.
We are
Yes,
not
sir.
worried about the number of electrons and holes in the bulk. We are more worried about what is the concentration of electrons and holes in this region. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just a minute. Now, when I apply some negative voltage, suppose if I apply the negative voltage, does it actually assist your electrons to go out of the metal? Because anyhow, electron is already negatively charged. Am I correct? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Suppose
Yes,
if I
sir.
apply negative voltage, does electron get energy so that it can easily go out of the material to vacuum?
Yes, sir.
So this moves above. You can see this is moving above now. This has gone above because Vg is less than 0. So you now have lesser energy required for electrons to go out because there is some extra energy that is given by an external power supply in the form of negative voltage. So does electron can go now bit easily compared to zero bias?
Yes, sir.
Now it can move. So what will happen here is, so of course electron can move, but this particular EF, so of course there is no current. This is not possible. You will not have any current going through this oxide region. So now you can see this has moved up. This has moved up. So as this is keep moving. So what should happen over here? What should happen over here?
More number of holes.
More number of holes should come. So when does more and more number of holes will come?
When electrons are out.
Can you see here? Does this start bending like this? This went up. This is actually moving up, and this is going down like this. You can see now this entire band which was now here has now moved to a different position. So because of this has moved. Can you see this is here only? So what is this gap now? Is this distance increased?
Yes, sir.
Can you see this is the interface between oxide and semiconductor? Is your EI is more in this region than in the bulk?
Yes, sir.
So does the number of holes, because number of holes is given by this expression, so does the value of EI keep on changing from your interface between oxide and semiconductor to deeper into the bulk? So does this equation and this band diagram, will it indicate that you have more and more holes accumulated in this region rather than at the compared to your bulk region?
Yes, sir.
Meaning here we have this. If you apply Vg negative, we certainly had some holes here, because when it is P substrate you certainly have the holes here. Holes are the majority carriers, so you have number of holes is equal to Na, or number of acceptors. But when the applied voltage is negative, more and more negative, do you have more number of holes being accumulated at the interface as per this? So this is what we call it as band bending. It not only bends your EI, it also bends your EC, it also bends your EV. But here this EF is remaining constant because EF will not bend because there is no current flowing here. There is no current will not flow. Suppose if the current flows, then this EF also will bend. So suppose if I just say position number 1 and position number 2. So shall I say position number 2 corresponds to the oxide semiconductor interface? Does the value of PP at 2 is far greater than the value of PP at 1?
Yes, sir.
What does this mean? Does it mean that you have accumulation of majority charge carriers at the oxide semiconductor interface?
Yes, sir.
So for accumulation region, the band diagram exactly looks like this. Suppose if this is your vacuum level, your band has got bent here. So this is your band diagram which is now bent. So this is your EC. This is your, first let me write this as at the midpoint, let me write it as EI. So this is my EF, this is my EV. So this remains as it is. This will be there till the bulk point, it is almost same. Then now we can see it just goes. Sorry.
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, is EI comes down in bulk side?
it won't come down because what we are talking about is we know that there are billions of transistors, billions of what is that atoms. So I can understand your concern, because if the number of holes come over here, you may have to have less in number. That's what your intention, no?
Yes, sir.
So out of maybe 10x, if 3x goes here, it should be 7x. That's what your contention. Am I correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But since this x, whatever 10 we are talking about, they are in terms of billions in number. Since it is billions in number, even though suppose assume that okay, out of 10, if 3 goes, then you can see there is a loss of 3. Suppose instead of 10, suppose if you take 10 power 10 times x and you have around 10 power 2 coming down here, will that certainly matter over here? The amount of number of electrons and holes that are there in the bulk is so huge that you still consider there is no much loss, but you can certainly say that there is a lot of gain here happening. Correct? So we
Yes,
will
sir.
going to have the number of holes at this point. So as per this, the expression remains the same. P of P is nothing but Ni of exponential Ei minus Ef by KT. So at the bulk, I'm going to have this number. At the interface, since this has bent, do you have more number of holes here as per this equation? Correct?
Yes, sir.
As per this equation, it is more. Suppose if you apply some more positive voltage, sorry, negative voltage,
Magnitude will increase.
this is keep on bending. This is keep on bending. Correct?
Yes, sir.
This is just keep on going like this. This is of not much any use because you're going to have simply holes over there. Now let us again make it 0. If I make it 0, will it come back to its original position? Correct?
Yes, sir.
I made it first initially negative, I made it now positive. So not positive means I just simply made it 0. Now you make it positive. So will it now start bending? Now when I make it positive, you are actually holding the electrons back. So electrons have to now spend more energy to go out. Am I correct? You can see now this
Yes,
5,
sir.
this is now more and more. They have to spend more because positive voltage will hold your electrons back in the material. Correct? So that's why you might have observed in the battery you have plus and minus. Only on one side it is get corroded, in the other side it is intact. Noticed any time? Notice the battery only, not both the leads will be get corroded. Only one lead, which is usually negative, will get corroded because you try to bombard the electrons out of the material by applying negative voltage. Whereas positive will be there intact because it is going to hold the electrons back in the material. Now, because of this applied positive voltage, the bending that was happening towards up now starts bending down. Can you see now it is bending down now? So what will happen? This will also start bending. Can you see this also start bending? Can you see this is also start coming down? Let me just write it. This also start bending down. Now see, what is the number of holes here? It is so and so. So is the number of holes at the oxide semiconductor interface keep reducing? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now you can see this is reducing. So you increase the positive voltage such that it becomes 0. Can you see now it is touching? EI is equal to EF. If you keep on increasing the voltage, does this bending keep happening? This bending is happening and this is keep moving. Correct? And whenever EI becomes equal to EF, what will happen? Do you have almost like intrinsic condition? Because this will become 0. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So in such case, shall we say it as you don't have, of course, when it is Ni matlab, you have something like a depletion region. Hello?
Yes, sir.
So for applied slight positive voltage, the band bending has started happening in the opposite direction. That will end up with almost 0 charges at the oxide semiconductor interface. But you can see still at the bulk still you have same number of holes and electrons as it was earlier. Because the bending
Yes,
is
sir.
not happening towards the bulk. Because this is of sufficient depth. Suppose if you further increase, what will happen? This starts coming down below EF. In such case, what will happen to n of p? So what was n of p expression? Is it not ni exponential ef minus ei by kt? Maybe for
Yes,
the
sir.
earlier cases, was this np far less than ni? For whenever this ei is here, is it more and more negative? Because when you apply some negative voltage, does this ei is here? So does this ei more negative? When it is more negative, then the entire value is so small.
Yes, sir.
So n of p will be very less. N of p will be far less at negative voltages. Correct? Because this ei is more, no? This ei is more means okay. This entire quantity is negative. When it is more and more negative, you're going to have n of p far less than ni. So now, if you increase the voltage in positive direction, does the number of electrons here slightly improving? Suppose if a time comes, or if the condition matches such that if this ei comes below ef, what will happen? Here. In this case, is this you consider this particular case, is your ef more than ei? Here this is ef, this is ei for a particular case. So in such case, does this quantity becomes positive?
Yes, sir.
So far it was negative. Over here, when you apply negative voltage, this was actually more, this was less. Correct?
Yes, sir.
When you keep applying the positive voltage, this is keep reducing. So it will become equal to EF at some point of time, and this will become lesser than EF for more and more applied voltage. Correct? And there is a gap between EI and EF. We call it as Q into phi b. Q into phi b is the gap between EI and EF in the bulk. Suppose if the applied positive voltage is such that whatever Q into phi b you have, if you can able to achieve same Q into phi b here, we will end up with inversion region. So see now, what is this Q into phi b? It was under normal condition the separation between EI and EF, which will end up with very less number of electrons at the oxide semiconductor interface. So now, if this EI bends to this point by a magnitude equal to 2 times Q into phi b. We talked about inversion, no? We talked about inversion. So what do you mean by inversion now? Of course, you may end up with a few number of electrons. So you are looking at what? You are looking at number of electrons which is equal to number of holes over here. So does this Q into phi b at this region, do you have too many number of holes? Hello, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೋಲ್ಸ್
Yes,
ಇದೆಯಾ
sir.
ಅಲ್ಲಿ? Are the
Yes, sir.
holes majority number? Because EI, what is the expression for what is this? Can you see this EI is large and EF is less here? The number of holes in p-type material is depends on Q phi b by, so okay, what is this? This is of course EI minus EF is nothing but Q into phi b by KT. So you're going to have large number of holes in the bulk. If the number of holes, number of electrons in the P substrate becomes number of holes in the P substrate at the interface, we call it as inversion region. So what do you mean by, okay, NP is equal to PP? Number of electrons in a p-type, if it becomes equal to number of holes in a p-type at the oxide semiconductor interface, does it mean that this EI, which is away by EF by Q into phi b, if it takes the same magnitude on the other direction, so you have P of P here and you have N of P. Does both the magnitudes same? That is same when the band bending results in such a way that this should bend below EF by phi b times. So what is the overall bending that is happening? From this
Right.
Q into phi b, it has to come all the way down to Q of phi b below this EF. So you have to apply a voltage which is 2 times Q into phi b, which is 2 times Q into phi b. So this is what the voltage that need to be applied. So on top of this, I need to overcome the barrier potential. So barrier potential, of course, let me just give you the expression. Let me not derive it. So 2 into phi b is the actual extra voltage that is required to make the number of electrons at the oxide semiconductor interface equal to number of holes in the bulk, correct? Plus this is your Q2, of course. I'm just writing the equation from the textbook. Ln S 2 phi b divided by Cox. This is your VTHO. Now you're getting what is this threshold voltage. Threshold voltage, of course, we will keep on telling that if you apply some enough positive voltage, you're going to have this channel get formed. Of course, simple having few number of electrons are not going to help you out. The number of electrons should be such that it should be equal to number of majority charge carriers in the bulk. Whatever number of majority charge carriers you have in the bulk, you should have almost the same number of minority carriers at the semiconductor interface. That will happen only when you apply a voltage 2Q into phi b plus the barrier potential to overcome that depletion region. So how much is that depletion region potential? It is given by this 2Q Na into epsilon S into, again this is again the separation between that Fermi levels. So looking at this, so would you like to have this threshold voltage as small as possible or as large as possible? So we want to have this VTH to be as small as possible. See here, does this phi b depends on the doping concentration? What is this phi b? This is your phi b, correct? This is phi b, no? Suppose the doping concentration is more, does this phi b increases? So does
Yes,
this
sir.
EF come down if the concentration is more? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Does the
sir.
concentration of impurity, if it is more and more, is the separation between EI and EF is more and more? Then
Yes,
does
sir.
it require more voltage for your what immersion to happen? Correct. Does the built-in potential, will it not be more if Na is more? Correct. Hello. Hello. For threshold voltage to be less, phi b should be less. Can you see here? 2 phi b plus so and so, and that is possible if you have lesser Na. What do you mean by lesser Na? Hello. What do you mean by lesser Na? Hello. What is this Na? Number of acceptors. Is it not the doping concentration? Hello.
Yes, sir.
That's why we always start with a substrate which is lightly doped. If you have a heavily doped substrate, then the phi b will be more, which results in larger threshold voltage. That is, voltage required for making that inversion region will be more and more, because this phi b will be more. If this phi b is more, to achieve twice the phi b, it takes lot of voltage, so your threshold voltage will be always more. So that's why we start with a substrate which is lightly doped, so that you can have a lesser phi b, so that inversion can happen bit easily. This phi b will also reduce the built-in potential in your depletion region. You can see this phi b is here, and of course Na is also here. If the concentration of your doping concentration is more, then you have this VTH is proportional to Na, and of course VTH is also proportional to phi b. To have a lesser VTH, one thing is phi b should be less, of course, which is possible by having a reduced value of Na. Reduced value of Na is nothing but doping concentration should be low enough. Correct? So we will just
Yes, sir.
make a recap of this in the next class, just for 5-10 minutes, writing what is the band diagram in 3 different regions: accumulation, depletion, and inversion. We just do it for both NMOS capacitor as well as PMOS capacitor, and then we just wind up this particular band bending concept of what MOS capacitors. Of course, we'll also talk about suppose if this phi ms is other than 0, what happens. So what do you mean by flat band voltage, and we also talk about some what is that CV characteristics of the MOS capacitor. Okay, then thank you.